As you can see, I am joining you in my pajamas today. And that is for a reason. I am taking a pajama self care day today. I'm still working, but I'm doing it in my pajamas and feeling as comfortable as possible because I need a self care restorative day. And that's actually what I want to talk about because I think in this culture that we're in, we can be so focused on our output, on our energy, and self care and restoration is a huge part of energy management. You can't be outputting all the time. You need to be able to take some time for yourself and input whatever that is. Fill your cup. It's all about balance, right? And so I just wanted to spend a little time talking about that and illustrating that today. You know, pre-COVID, before COVID happened, I was so hipster. This happened before COVID for me. I was having issues with my mental health and this kind of push culture, just like trying to hustle all the time. And I was so burned out and I was so exhausted and I felt so overwhelmed by everything. And my solution was at some point in 2019, I decided this was a brilliant idea. Actually, I remember it was Boxing Day because I went out and I bought myself a whole bunch of pajamas that were specifically for daytime. So instead of pajamas to sleep in, I have pajamas to sleep in, which are much less visually appropriate. They're threadbare and falling apart and they get holes in them, that kind of thing. And then I have my daytime pajamas, which I wouldn't mind being seen in if someone saw me. And I went out and I purchased those on Boxing Day because my theory was I needed to have a day or two a week where I committed to just being in my pajamas all day. But I didn't want to you know, wake up and stay in those pajamas. I still wanted to feel fresh and feel good about myself, but I wanted to be comfy and cozy like I am and when I'm in my pajamas. So I purchased some daytime pajamas, and honestly, that changed my life. I've never gone back. I I I practice daytime pajama wearing a lot, and but it made such a difference to have pajama days. Like I had one day a week that I would commit to being in my pajamas. So I could work if I wanted to, and I could even do calls if I wanted to, but I was going to be in my pajamas. So they had to be, I wasn't doing any professional interviews or anything. And that really, really helped me just prioritize that input time, that self care, going inwards, comforting myself, looking after myself, feeling cozy and comfy um and restored. It really helped me keep that a top of mind priority. And maybe some of you don't have problems with that. I have a huge problem with it, which is why I have to do all these little tricks. But I think a lot of us, and especially when we're speaking, because we're going out and we're doing a lot of output, it's so important to remember to rest and to look at rest like an investment. Rest is not something you do when you are tired. Rest is not something you do after you've done everything else you want to do. Rest is something you do before as an investment in the energy that you are going to have. Because if we push ourselves and then only let ourselves rest when we're exhausted, we put out some pretty crappy product, to be honest. So there are obviously times where you can't for whatever reason, or your body won't let you or your brain won't let you, but prioritizing it and creating time and space for it. If you have a speaking gig coming up or an event that you're hosting or like a summit that you're doing, making time not only afterwards for recovery, but before for that rejuvenation so that you show up as your best because you want to be your best, energized, most open, positive self. And I don't know about you, but when I'm tired, I'm grumpy and I feel less capable. I feel less confident. I feel more kind of doom and gloom when I'm tired. Similarly, when I'm sick, if my body's not doing great, my mental and emotional state isn't great either. And so when we can allow ourselves to look after ourselves preemptively, proactively, then we can show up on the day and be enthusiastic and excited and have that boundless energy that we want. And we want it to feel easy and we want it to feel free and open. And that's a huge part of it. So creating time for rest is a big part of energy management. Another part of energy management is consistency. So I talk about this a lot, I know, but creating little warm-up routines beforehand. If you're doing like an on in-person on stage speech or event or something, or even networking, finding time to honor those little rituals that give you energy, doing power poses or breathing exercises or my 10-minute super simple warm up routine or whatever it is, doing that beforehand every time religiously so that it creates this muscle memory in you. It creates this positive Pavlovian association where you're like, oh, yes, I'm alive. I'm energetic, energized. I feel good. And then you go on. But when we're recording, it's also really important. And what's so important is that if you are consistently creating content, if you're one of those people who batches content creation, like you record 5 videos in one day, you have to be so careful because your energy will slowly go down as is natural. As you are working, you will get tired, but you will only feel tired when you have looked tired for the last 5 takes. So you have to be very careful about resetting and re-energizing every single time you start a new take, or to take a break and you're going to do a different video. Make sure that you are preemptively resting, rejuvenating, recouping, because if you push yourself until you're tired, you have to throw out those last 3 to 5 takes anyway, because they're low energy, and your face and your voice will show that you are tired before you will feel it. And especially on video, that's so important. And on stage too. On stage, I feel like you feel it kind of, there's a little bit of difference there. You're not necessarily doing one long thing unless you're doing like a full day event on stage. You can usually ride it out, but it is so important. So whenever you're needing sustainable energy, I really want to encourage you, proactively take breaks. Don't take breaks when you're tired. Proactively schedule them in and make sure that you don't have too long between, because your energy is going to fade. Your voice is going to get more monotone. Your face is going to get less expressive. All of these things are going to happen before you notice. And so taking the time to rejuvenate, for me, when I'm doing, so I have a little ritual that I do kind of before each video as I'm getting ready. If I'm doing a bunch of videos, say I'm doing 3 videos in one day, I have a little thing that I do before, like as I'm getting ready, I mean, depending, live like this, I don't do a lot, to be honest. But if I'm doing like content videos, like teaching videos, then I will, I've got a whole makeup routine and all that kind of stuff to like get me going. And then between each take, and this is true no matter what type of video I'm doing, even if I'm doing like a very informal Facebook Live, between each take, I have a little energy reset. It might be, it's different every day, but it's the same each day. It's the same for each take because I want to have that same kind of energy. So maybe yesterday it was a happy dance and today it's singing a song, but each time I start a take today, I will sing the same song and bring up that same energy because I want to match my energy, right? And so it's about finding whatever works for you in the day. And some days you need a lot and some days you just need a little bit, but making sure that you do it before each time. I feel like I'm belaboring the point now, so I'm going to stop. But it's so important. It's so important. We tend only to think of resting after we get tired. And the main point of this video is buy daytime pajamas, schedule in proactive, preemptive rest, rejuvenation, self-care time for yourself so that you never have to get to that point where you're so tired you need a break. You should never need a break. We all do. I mean, it happens. I definitely push myself too hard. But ideally, as much as possible, plan ahead, be proactive. Your rest is an important investment in your energy management system. And your energy management is so important when it comes to how you show up on camera and on stage, in person, at networking events, wherever you are. Your speaking energy relies on how good you are at your energy management.